This week, Tucker Carlson set his sights on his latest target, a political troll who we've all envisioned putting in their smug little place, Elmo. The Fox News host took aim at Elmo following Sesame Street's segment on racism at CNN's latest town hall, which Carlson felt unfairly burdened white children. This, of course, is just the latest in Fox News' war on Sesame Street, which started several years ago when Laura Ingraham drop-kicked the Cookie Monster live on air for suggesting that America might need healthcare reform. In science news, some countries have been training dogs to detect coronavirus by scent. Researchers from the National Veterinary School outside of Paris have trained dogs to identify people infected with coronavirus by using odor samples taken from their armpits. The researchers said that it turns out that only certain breeds can actually detect the virus through scent, a realization that came a bit too late for some test subjects. There were mixed opinions this week about the decision made by Nancy Pelosi and some of her colleagues to don kente cloth in a show of solidarity with Black Americans. While some appreciated the gesture, others saw it as a political stunt. Similarly, people are suspicious of NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell's sudden decision to embrace players who opt to protest racial injustice by taking a knee during the national anthem. If you recall, Goodell was vehemently opposed to these types of protests less than a year ago when he thought the gestures might lose the league money. Goodell, of course, denies that his sudden change of heart is an instance of him pandering to black fans, a denial that was hard to take seriously after he entered the press conference in a dashiki to announce that Fox's NFL Sunday will now be known as Tyler Perry Presents Fox's NFL Sunday. The mayor of Omaha is dealing with blowback this week after she called a constituent who criticized her online a troll and a coward for not listing her name on Facebook and instead hiding behind symbols. It turns out, however, that the constituent was just a Korean American, and the mysterious symbols that Mayor Stothert was referring to was just her name spelled in Korean characters. While the incident was upsetting to some, residents of Omaha said that Stothert's cultural ignorance did help to explain a bizarre incident that took place back in 2017, when the mayor announced she had gotten her hands on some ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, which, upon further inspection, just turned out to be a menu from a local Chinese restaurant. A few weeks ago, a Scottish football club decided to leave the decision about whether or not to offer one of its players a contract extension up to the most reasonable decision-making body in the world, anonymous strangers on the internet. The club, Livingston, opted to allow people on Twitter to decide the fate of veteran goalkeeper Gary Maley. One has to assume that the club was inspired by the rousing successes of other recent internet polls, which have seen a boat be named Boaty McBoatface, and Mountain Dew fans suggesting that the company should name their latest flavor either Gushing Granny, Hitler Did Nothing Wrong, or my personal favorite, Sierra Mist. Finally, Prime Minister Boris Johnson seems to have suddenly changed his mind about allowing immigrants into the UK. Johnson, one of the primary proponents of Brexit precisely because he felt the UK was letting in too many immigrants, was suddenly singing a different tune during his latest press conference. With the UK economy now struggling in the wake of the coronavirus, Johnson tried to lure back some of the foreign workforce, even going as far as saying tutti benvenuti, which in Italian means everyone welcome. EU immigrants, however, had a hard time taking Johnson's sentiment seriously, especially since the last Italian phrase he learned to address them was vaffanculo. I want to give a big shout out to anyone who has supported me thus far, whether you've liked some of my videos or subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much. And I also want to apologize in advance for selling out at the first opportunity I get.